people think that those diseases are no longer exist. But in fact, it's very far from the truth. Each year, 12 million new infections occur.
Members of the Association of Reproductive Health Professionals gathered Saturday in San Francisco to discuss the epidemic. They say some of the blame might actually lie with increased education about AIDS. The public has focused so much on HIV, the virus that causes AIDS, that it has forgotten about other sexually transmitted diseases. Or people have concluded that compared to AIDS, other STDs can be easily treated and are of little consequence. But they're wrong.
Other diseases, sexually acquired, can create some very significant health problems, particularly for women.
Chlamydia can lead to infertility. Genital warts may be linked to cervical cancer. All STDs might increase the chance of getting AIDS.
The risk of HIV transmission is probably at least 3 to 5-fold greater in the presence of other sexually transmitted diseases.
The experts say educators must talk about all sexually transmitted diseases when they instruct young people about AIDS, and that they must tell young people that the same safe sex techniques aimed at AIDS, such as the use of condoms, can also significantly reduce the danger of other sexually transmitted diseases. And one final step, people need to be open and honest with their doctors about their sexual practices. In that way, doctors can give them accurate advice to prevent disease and early treatment when it happens. Craig Heaps for CNN, San Francisco.
News from Medicine is brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb Company, makers of Theragran M, the complete multivitamin for active people.
Good news for active people. Theragran M wants you to know the latest news in nutrition is about antioxidants, and Theragran M's got them, like beta-carotene, vitamin C and E. It's the complete multivitamin. Together with a balanced diet, Theragran M can help keep you on the move. Theragran M, the complete multivitamin with antioxidants.
Nobody does it like you, the way that you do. Hoover, nobody does it like you.
Time to paint. Which paint has the colors you want? Which paint smooths on easily, dries quickly, evenly? Which paint lasts? Over a century of experience in every can. Tough, durable, a leader. Which paint? This paint. Pittsburgh Paints. You work too hard to paint with anything less.
When do you really need Hertz Instant Return? Airport rush hour. That little window of time when it seems that everybody's trying to make their flight home. Look, in just moments, the Instant Return computer prints out your receipt. No counters, no waiting. No time lost making your flight. Instant Return is one more reason why Hertz beats the rush hour. My running days are over.
It's a TBS salute to the Duke on his birthday.
I hope they know what they're up against.
4 movies of nothing but the Duke.
Thanks.
TBS salutes John Wayne, beginning at 8:05 Eastern Wednesday night.
No word yet on the cause of a military bus crash in California that injured 23 people too seriously. The Air Force bus crashed yesterday on a steep mountain road west of Los Angeles. The bus was carrying teenage Civil Air Patrol cadets to a military base for a tour. Now, the road is considered hazardous, but a state trooper said it is not yet known exactly why the bus struck an embankment and overturned. The Pentagon put Star Wars technology to work early today. The Air Force launched a research rocket from Cape Canaveral about 7 hours ago, delayed one day by a computer problem. Its payload will test the capability of sensors to distinguish between incoming warheads and decoys. Tom Steiner in here to report the sports for you. It didn't take long for Riddick to do the job, did it?
Easy night for the heavyweight champion, Donna. 197 seconds to be exact. Well, 15 weeks after needing a little more than 2 minutes to retain his title, Riddick Bowe barely worked up a sweat in his second defense. Less than 2 rounds of action this time, and it put $7 million more in the bank account for Bowe, who abused Jesse Ferguson. A longtime sparring partner of the Stars, Ferguson treated like one by the champ. Bo, 11 years younger, 20 pounds heavier than Ferguson, and used that might and girth to do the damage. Lethal hooks, jabs, and uppercuts wore down the challenger, who went to the canvas late in the first before taking a final bow just 17 seconds into the second. You might be wondering why Bo would go up against such inferior competition. Well, he says the journeyman Ferguson was worthy by upsetting Ray Mercer back in February.
Jesse Ferguson beat the guy that I was supposed to beat, and so we felt like we should give him that opportunity. He was in great shape. You know, I went out there and did what Riddick Bowe was supposed to do, knock him out, and I'm satisfied. And I've come to the point where, you know, I have to make Riddick Bowe happy, and that's what I'm doing.
Eastern Conference heavyweights Chicago and New York will meet later this afternoon, while Seattle completed the NBA's Final Four field, stopping Houston in 7. The clincher needed overtime to decide in Seattle. Hakeem Olajuwon coming up big, the Defensive Player of the Year, doing it on the offensive end as well. 23 points, 17 boards in the seesaw affair. Sharpshooting Eddie Johnson off the bench for 3. That would tie up the game in the third. Let's pick it up, half-minute to go in the game. Rockets by 2, but not for long, as Sam Perkins deadlocks the score with the jumper. We're going to overtime. And Rudy T's team had the last chance in overtime to win it, but Vernon Maxwell's jumper is off the mark. Seattle holds on by 3. They will play Phoenix in the Western Finals beginning tomorrow night. The Never Say Die New York Islanders gave an earful to the Montreal Canadiens as they end Montreal's 11-game playoff run. Terrific play by Glenn Healy in the pipes. Best game of the series as he robbed Denis Savard there. Keep your eye on the helmetless guy. Steve Thomas circling around the net. There he is. How in the world did he get this one to go past Patrick Waugh? Up high to the glove side, 1-1. It stayed that way until the third, when Ray Ferraro spotted the streaking Pat Flatley. 2-1 New York. They go on to a 4-1 win. They send the series back to Montreal for Game 5 tomorrow night. The Diamond Life is next, including Blue Heaven of late for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Highlights next, so stay with us.
Dear parents, even if your car is working perfectly, it's still a dangerous place for a child who doesn't have a car seat. So through Project Safe Baby, Midas is making it easy for everyone to afford a Century car seat for just $42. Our cost. You see, Project Safe Baby isn't about making a profit. It's about making cars safer for children everywhere. That's the Midas way, the way it should be.
If you suffer from the common aches and pains of arthritis, doctors know that a safe and effective way to relieve them is something you may already have in your home. Extra strength Tylenol gel caps. Tylenol helps relieve arthritis pain without irritating your stomach, the way aspirin or even ibuprofen can. What should you take for your arthritis pain? Talk to your doctor. The answer may be closer than you think. Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Back when all anyone could talk about was how fast cars could go, Liberty Mutual was thinking about how safe cars could be. So we began research on the safety belt, airbag, and anti-lock brakes.
There were 2 persons injured and 1 killed. The dead was James Byron Dean.
Drought, disease, war and starvation. For hundreds of thousands of innocent young children, the cradle of all human life is becoming a graveyard. The agony of Africa. If it's important to you, you'll find it in time.
The LA Dodgers stayed on their winning beat 5 in a row now after handing the Colorado Rockies their 16th loss in 18 games. To Chavez Ravine, Jose Offerman, not known for his defense, with the backwards bow. 6th inning, LA getting the tying run courtesy Mike Piazza. Through the hole, and Eric Davis waved home he would score, and the game was tied at 3 apiece. Same inning, 3-3, bases loaded, 3-2 count. Jeff Parrott, the payoff pitch to Jody Reed, hits it to shortstop Nelson Liriano. The throw, not in time. Tommy's Troops wins it 4-3. They are now 3 games under the 500 level. Royals turned up the defense to top Seattle. Kevin Apier working to Mackie Sasser, lofting one high in foul territory. Long run for the shortstop, Greg Gagne. And makes it look easy right in his hip pocket. One of the most underrated players in the game. 8th inning, KC adding to its lead with Brian McCray hitting it to the right side. Felix Jose, not the fastest guy around, testing Sasser's arm. Gonna be a play at the plate, but it's not too close. Kansas City has won 7 of its last 9. Let's roll through the complete Saturday scoreboard. Sports Sunday has all the day baseball and game 1 of the Bulls-Knicks showdown tonight at 7:30 Eastern Time. Donna?
Thank you, Tom. Well, the legend of Bigfoot goes back many years, and so do efforts to prove it's true. In the Pacific Northwest, where the beast is called Sasquatch, believers say they have footprints and videotape to support their case. So why don't the skeptics buy it? Ian Hanamansing of CBC News reports.
It is a legend that won't go away, that somewhere in these woods is an ape-like, human-like beast called the Sasquatch, or Bigfoot. Over the years, a few have even seen it.
My eyes saw its hands, and I followed up, of course, to its face. But I couldn't take my eyes off it.
For the next 2 weekends, a small band of Bigfoot believers are meeting here to swap stories about their obsession.
It's very interesting because it still says, I don't know whether I believe, but I know what I saw.
Sasquatch supporters point to plaster casts like these to try to prove their point, and to this film shot in the western U.S. in the 60s. But even some who are convinced admit there's more to prove.
We can't criticize the scientific community too much for their lack of interest in the Sasquatch question, because they are right in one major point. There is no hard evidence, no bones, no body.
But this man says it's easier to believe the footprints and sightings are real rather than a series of hoaxes and hallucinations.
Compared to explaining why humans of all races in all parts of the world throughout history have gone around manufacturing evidence indicating that there's an animal with big feet and walks like a human. To my mind, the animal is the simpler explanation.
About the only thing beyond dispute is that the Sasquatch is good for business.
There, right there.
It's even starred in a series of beer commercials.
Anyone spot your sass?
Just this guy with the camera. Care for a kokanee?
But for the believers, this is very serious business. And at the seminars this weekend and next, they're going to try to find ways to gather more evidence to convince the skeptics that deep within these woods lurks the Sasquatch. Ian Hanamansing, CBC News, Harrison Hot Springs.
Science and Technology Week is coming up, plus a look at today's top stories.
Over 1 million species inhabit the Earth, each of them sharing the same ocean, land, and air. But the indifference of man could impact every living thing. Earth Matters turns its focus on our fragile planet with a hard-hitting look at people and the environment, confronting the issues and taking bold steps to create a greener world. Earth Matters, today, 2:30 Eastern on CNN.
The Discovery Channel and TCI Cablevision present the life of the greatest mass murderer in history. Monster, a portrait of Stalin in blood. A 4-part miniseries, Tuesdays at 9/10 Pacific on the Discovery Channel and TCI Cablevision.
Neil Kelly Designers Remodelers present a luxurious bath design without limitation, featuring unique and flexible Corian by DuPont. Its sweeping curves and graceful lines bring elegance to walls and countertops. And now, Corian by DuPont introduces its beauty to floor tile as well. Corian floor tile, on display in the stunning nationally advertised model bath, exclusively at Neil Kelly's East Side location.
This is CNN.
Hello, I'm Donna Kelly, and for Natalie Allen. Science and Technology Week is coming up next. First, though, let's update this hour's top stories. The president of Muslim-held Bosnia-Herzegovina is rejecting a new strategy to contain his country's civil war. He called on his people to use all available means to defend Bosnia against attacks by Serb forces, and he refused to take part in what he called futile peace talks. Negative reaction to the new U.S.-European plan is also coming from leaders on Capitol Hill.
We are legitimating genocide. I went into Sarajevo last Thanksgiving. I saw the graves, the soccer fields being dug up for the graves of 6-year-old children. You felt the mortars. You heard the 50 calibers go by. You knew the people up those hills. They didn't want to capture Sarajevo. They just wanted everybody there to be dead. We used to say, never forget, never again. What was it we were supposed to never forget? What we're allowing to happen before our very eyes and saying, well, it's probably the best in the long run.
Yesterday, the United States, Russia, Great Britain, France, and Spain agreed to create and protect at least 6 so-called safe havens for Bosnian war refugees. Today, Bosnia's Serb leader called for new peace talks aimed at splitting the republic into 3 separate ethnic states. A federal grand jury is reportedly checking new claims about a key Democrat's finances. The Chicago Sun-Times reports that Illinois Congressman Dan Rostenkowski's family received hundreds of thousands in rent from the government for his office space. Rostenkowski's family denies any wrongdoing. The newspaper reports that Rostenkowski's sisters and daughters own 2 Chicago buildings. One housed the congressman's offices for some 25 years. The other has been home to the local Democratic Party since 1968. House leaders say they're not afraid of a rebellion by moderate Democrats over President Clinton's economic plan, and they say they can round up enough votes this week to pass it. So far, Democrats do not seem to agree on any alternatives, such as one that would eliminate the energy tax.
His presidency should not be defined by the BTU tax. He never mentioned that during the campaign. He ran on a campaign of $2 in spending cuts for every dollar in tax, and now that's been reversed.
You know, I think the real record of this administration has to be looked at the end of this year and the end of 4 years. Not how every little issue is gone, what happens day to day, but what the real result is. Can we get something done? And I've said many times, this president ran to be a president who did something, not just to keep the seat warm.
House Republicans say the Clinton plan is just more tax and spend from the Democrats. In Cambodia, polling places reported long lines today for the first national elections in at least 2 decades. UN officials say more than 100,000 people voted today in Cambodia's most populous province. And another report says 1 million were voting nationwide. The United Nations has more than 10,000 troops guarding polling places from attacks by Khmer Rouge guerrillas. The Khmer Rouge rejected a peace plan it signed in 1991 with the Phnom Penh government. I'm Donna Kelly at the CNN Center in Atlanta. Still ahead on CNN Weekend, telling somebody to go fly a kite could have a new meaning with today's high-tech kites. We'll find out what they can do.
Flying a kite can give you a lift, literally. We'll show you what else today's high-tech kites can do. Also, modern computers are helping to unlock the ancient mysteries of the Dead Sea Scrolls. And engineering students build model bridges that link theory to reality and learning fun. Those stories and more are just ahead. Hello, I'm Miles O'Brien. In California, they're testing a new approach to treating water, which might make what comes out of your tap purer and better tasting, but at a price. CNN's Dan Blackburn reports.
From the time it leaves these mountains in the Sierra and travels through the state's famed aqueduct system to Southern California, the water that millions of people drink collects impurities. Some of those impurities just taste bad, others make people sick. Currently, most U.S. water is treated with chlorine-based purifiers to make it healthy and safe. But the Environmental Protection Agency is weighing tougher standards that would require another approach.
Chlorine tends to cause the formation of certain chlorination byproducts that are of health concern, like the trihalomethanes. By substituting ozone for chlorine, we remove the potential for forming those chlorinated byproducts.
Water district experts here have been testing a process that uses ozone and hydrogen peroxide in a combination called peroxone to remove harmful bacteria and chemicals, as Jill Gramuth explained.
The ozone-containing gas is bubbled through the water. The ozone is transferred from the gas to the water, where it can then react with microorganisms and organic compounds.
The addition of the hydrogen peroxide both improves the taste and smell of the water and speeds up the oxidation process. But this cleaner water will carry a higher price tag.
Ozone or peroxone will cost our consumers a little bit more, something in the range of $15 per family per year for ozone and something in the range of $10 per family per year for peroxone.
The ozone and peroxide process still is in the testing stage, but local health officials like what they have seen.
From some initial data we've seen, it appears it's quite viable, yes. And it certainly would be cheaper than the other alternative, which would be probably activated carbon.
If the EPA sticks to its current plans, large water districts will need to be delivering cleaner water by 1997, at which time city water may taste like the real mountain spring stuff.
Ozone may be good or bad depending on where you find it. While ozone used as a disinfectant in a closed system can be good, ozone trapped close to the ground is bad because it becomes part of smog. But ozone found in the upper atmosphere is good because it shields the Earth from solar radiation. Up next on Science and Technology Week, we'll have an update on some of the week's events, including big problems for some small marine mammals.
Science and Technology Week is brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth, a division of the Chrysler Corporation.
It has a 214 horsepower 24-valve V6. It also has more interior room than a Lexus LS 400. Cab-forward design gives it a wide track for aggressive handling. It also has dual airbags and computerized traction control. Introducing the Chrysler LHS. The American luxury car is now in the fast lane.
Today on CNN World Report, violence against women. It's long prevented economic growth in developing nations, that Western winds may be blowing incentives for change. Then her means are minimal, but that's not changing this woman's wealth of love. How she's nurturing new hope to abandon Vietnamese children. And visit this museum and dig up the dirt about soil. Discover the depths and history of our planet. Getting the lowdown, deep down under, on CNN World Report, 3 p.m. Eastern today.
Coming to home video, the action, the adventure.
Johnny, look out!
Johnny Quest in his first feature-length movie. The game's over. Johnny's Golden Quest, coming to home video from Turner Home Entertainment.
Research out this week suggesting volcanic eruptions may be hazardous to your health even if you're nowhere near the lava and ash. Scientists say the eruption of Mount Pinatubo in 1991 probably helped destroy ozone over the Antarctic, contributing to a record ozone hole last winter. Gases from the eruption included huge amounts of sulfur compounds. Scientists think the sulfur compounds help man-made chlorine compounds in the atmosphere eat away at the ozone layer, which, as we said earlier, protects the Earth from harmful ultraviolet radiation. The research was published in the journal Nature. NASA's Mars Observer spacecraft is apparently back on track. The spacecraft spent 8 days pointing in the wrong direction. It's on its way to Mars, where it's supposed to start gathering data later this year. This is the 4th time it's gotten confused and turned its main antenna away from Earth. NASA engineers transmitted a new computer program to the spacecraft on Monday, and they say it's back to normal operation. Operations are not normal at the Marine Mammal Center in Marin County, California. Young seals and sea lions needing help are turning up at 3 times the usual rate. The center takes in animals that are sick, hungry, or abandoned. Scientists say the main problem is a shortage of food because fish have been pushed far out to sea by unusual currents and weather. Adult seals and sea lions can find the fish there, but juveniles don't have the hunting skills yet. The center's herring budget is up to $10,000 a month. And the Beverly Hills Fire Department deployed its heavy equipment on Wednesday for a daring rescue mission to catch a peahen stranded on a 7th-floor ledge. The exotic bird, named Delphine, spent 2 days on the ledge after burglars let her out of her aviary. Peafowl are not big on flying ability. Firefighters finally nabbed Delphine and returned her to a relieved owner. He predicted the bird would be fine once she got some food and water and was reunited with her mate, Enrique. Only in Beverly Hills. More than 2,000 years after they were written, and more than 40 years after they were rediscovered, the Dead Sea Scrolls are the focus of a new investigation. Scholars charged with protecting and deciphering the scrolls are turning to computers for help. CNN's Al Hinman reports.
Not all of the Dead Sea Scrolls are scrolls. Much of what was discovered more than 4 decades ago at Qumran in caves next to the Dead Sea has deteriorated through the centuries into more than 100,000 small and often indecipherable fragments.
You see some of these fragments are quite clear. You can see distinct characters on them. Others are very hazy, and some you can hardly see characters at all.
At the Rochester Institute of Technology, Robert Johnston uses the latest in computer imaging technology to decipher the Dead Sea fragments. The computerized enhancement process can be painstakingly slow.
We have to take one character and almost enhance that character piece by piece.
Israeli scholars send infrared photographic images to the Rochester team. A scanner converts the photo into digital form, then the computer and a lot of patience take over.
What we've got here is a fragment that we want to enhance.
Research assistant Adam Hansen demonstrates how the enhancement process works. He adjusts the contrast and perhaps the color scale and brightness, along with other corrections.
There's not very much text information that's visible, but we'll find that actually we can retrieve a good portion of that text.
The process makes the hard-to-read character suddenly snap into focus. The team recently helped solve one small scroll puzzle when they worked on a fragment containing a portion of the Old Testament book of Job. The challenge, decipher what's on the small dark fragment at the upper left and try to determine where it belongs along the edge.
Here's the character, half the character above that's on the edge, and here's the character below the edge. It lines right up, and you can see the lines line up.
Although these high-tech detectives know they cannot work miracles on every fragment, they do say they're pleased to be helping other scholars unlock more secrets from the Dead Sea Scrolls.
In a few minutes, we'll give you an easily decipherable phone number where you can order transcripts of our program. And coming up next, lots of people know how to fly a kite. What's a lot more challenging is making a kite fly a person. We'll show you how it's done.
Do you want a car that handles like a sports car, or one that handles 6 people comfortably? Do you want to feel the road, or do you want a smooth, comfortable ride? 214 horses, or dual airbags? Introducing a car that proves you can have everything. The Chrysler New Yorker. The American luxury car is now in the fast lane.
Guadalcanal. Now, hear the battle stories of the men who were there.
I've come to think that the spectacle of human beings killing each other is without equal. The devil in us makes us enjoy watching it.
If the tacticians of the world were to leave it to survivors,
You wouldn't have any wars. Join Robert Ballard on a voyage into the past.
There's your ship.
The Lost Fleet of Guadalcanal, introduced by George Bush. 9 Eastern, tonight, exclusively on TBS.
Flying a kite can be relaxing, if it's a normal kite. But some of today's high-tech kites do a lot more than just fly high in the wind. It's a sunny day at Jones Beach on Long Island, and George Vasquette is getting ready to fly. It's called man-lifting, kite flying taken to the extreme.
It's a rush. The first time is really scary, but right when you first take off, it's like you're just up there floating. It's pretty amazing.
Several kites lashed together act as one large super kite that has to be anchored deep in the ground.
Each kite is 20 square feet. There was 8 of them on today, so they were getting about 500 pounds of pull. So what it's doing is it's pulling against two points, and I'm hanging in the middle, so it just pulls me up.
Note the safety gear. Man-lifting is dangerous. People have been seriously injured and killed doing this. Man-lifting is just one form of power kiting. Another way pulls a 3-wheeled buggy, and rollerblades are also an option. Power kiting has emerged as strong, steerable kites have become more popular. Expert kite flyer Dean Jordan explains the key to flying these kites is taking them in and out of their power zone.
That's the side edge. Now we'll follow the edge around. Now this is out of the power to the top and to the left edge, and you can see anywhere below that edge. If I did a figure 8 or woohoo, or any movement that I do inside of that dome, and I'm gone.
Once Jordan is on board the buggy, the kite acts like a sail on strings.
Now I'm going upwind now, and of course if I go downwind, even slightly, my speed will increase. And of course if I put the kite down into the power zone, my speed also will increase. So it doesn't matter which way the wind is blowing. If you have a little bit of space, you can get back to where you started. What we like is speed. So if we can get some speed, we like it.
Jordan makes it look easy, but flying a 4-string kite can be tricky and expensive. The kite and buggy cost several $100s each. The gear needed for man-lifting is just as pricey and not even ready-made. Most daredevils build their own customized rig. And power kiting on a buggy can lead to some traffic problems.
It's my understanding that anywhere in the world, sail-powered craft have the right of way. I could be mistaken.
That's one approach to high-tech kiting, putting together a kite that's powerful enough to take for a ride. But there's another trend toward kites whose lightweight design and craftsmanship make them aerodynamic marvels.
This kite does seem to have plenty of lift.
Now Jordan is doing what may seem impossible. He's flying a kite indoors. There are no fans blowing in the gym, no breeze coming through the windows. Yet Jordan can still keep his custom kite aloft just by dragging it through the inside air. He can even practice object flying. The goal, to hit things with the kite.
I can land, take off, slide sideways, hit the wall, come off of it.
This was the virgin flight for a kite that weighs a mere 5.5 ounces. By all accounts, it was a success, except for one minor snag.
Oops. Now, this is one of the problems with object flying.
Jordan has built a reputation as an expert kite maker, specializing in kites that can fly in little or no wind. His models are a favorite of serious flyers who are willing to pay a few $100s for one.
I wanted to create a kite that flew in very light winds because here in Gainesville, Florida, we don't have much wind, and if we do have wind, it's sporadic.
He runs his own business, Jordan Air Kites, in a small shop with the help of 2 others. Each kite is handcrafted using the lightest, strongest materials available. The fabric, called Icarex, is a polyester that comes from Japan.
I can pull it, I can put a great deal of force on it, and it does not stretch.
The material is strategically sewn together.
If you can see, the straight lines in here We have put these so that the strength of the cloth is optimal on the edge, because we want the strength here.
Feather-like carbon graphite rods make up the airframe.
We call this Ridiculite. It's just over 8.5 grams, which is it's quite amazing.
And of course, the design is key. Jordan uses short rods called standoffs that fix the kite's shape and make it more versatile.
Before standoffs, kites use the wind to hold their shape. This kite keeps its shape as you fly, no matter how far in or out the envelope you are. You can stall it, recover. You can flip it backwards, recover it. You know, many different things because of its rigid air shape.
So when Jordan wants to fly a kite, he doesn't have to wait for a windy day.
Looks like the wind's blowing about 1 to 0.
And because his kites don't need a breeze, they can fly in any direction, not just downwind.
This kite is really the peak of technology right now, kite technology today. It still exceeds my abilities. I am still learning from the kite.
Jordan says he's always looking to improve his kites and for new ways to fly them. Up next on Science and Technology Week, we'll tell you why these engineering students are in a hurry. And by the way, if you'd like to order a transcript, the number to call is 303-831-9000. We'll be right back.
It has a 214 horsepower 24-valve V6. It also has more interior room than a Lexus LS 400. Cab-forward design gives it a wide track for aggressive handling. It also has dual airbags and computerized traction control. Introducing the Chrysler LHS. The American luxury car is now in the fast lane.
Guadalcanal. National Geographic Explorer takes you to World War II's epic battleground, the Lost Fleet of Guadalcanal. 9 Eastern tonight, exclusively on TBS.
Once, it seemed like a simple idea. Create machines to make people's jobs a little easier. Welcome to the 90s. Competition, downsizing, restructuring. You're working harder now than ever before. And with the rapid advancements in technology, you may not even recognize your job by tomorrow, if you still have one. Are you ready for the change? CNN presents Work in Progress, Sunday, June 6, 9 p.m. Eastern on CNN.
Science and Technology Week has been brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth, a division of the Chrysler Corporation.
Engineering students can only learn so much from books. Then they have to roll up their sleeves and work on a real design project. That's the idea behind a recent contest that challenged students to build a bridge.
I got it. Go, go, go.
It's a chance for some engineering students to bridge the gap between the classroom and the working world.
We're not hands-on as much as we are sitting down, calculating things out. So this is a good experience for people to realize what's involved in putting the actual steel together and welding it and meeting the other constraints of the problem.
First school, University of Colorado.
Students from 13 U.S. schools came to the campus of Southern Tech to participate in the National Steel Bridge Building Competition. The object? To build a winning bridge. To do that, they had to satisfy the specifications of a fictional job created by contest sponsors.
And it's modeled after a real situation. That's the most important thing. It's just a scaled-down version of it.
Contestants designed, fabricated, and built a 1/10 scale model of a steel bridge that's 200 feet long and spans a river in a mountainous rural region.
The bridge has got to span 20 feet when it's complete. They get points based on how light it is, but at the end it's got to carry 2,000 pounds of load located at the center of the bridge and have minimal deflection.
The winning bridge is determined by efficiency, economy, and aesthetics.
Hey, that's wrong. Undo that.
The pressure is intense and time is important.
The way the judging goes is the faster you build it, the more points you get. And that's directly related to real-life construction, that you want to be reasonably fast.
But speed can mean accidents, both on the job and in competition. The San Diego team was penalized after accidentally dropping a part in the river. Each penalty means a fine and adds to the cost of the bridge.
You're either working for a client or for the government or somebody, and you want to save them money also, but make it the most efficient bridge or building or project that you can.
Each bridge in the competition must undergo 3 different load tests. That spelled disaster for the Air Force Academy, whose bridge buckled under the strain.
Yeah, we knew it was close.
We designed it to handle exactly 2,500 pounds, so it wasn't really the steel that does the connection.
The University of Alaska at Fairbanks built the winning bridge, both in the overall competition and in the aesthetics category.
Hey, hey, rock and roll! Hey, hey, rock and roll!
The University of Dayton came in 9th, but they still seem to find the day constructive. Thanks for joining us. I'm Miles O'Brien. Next week, wheat is one of the world's most important food crops, and it's also been one of the most difficult to improve by genetic engineering. Now that may be about to change. We'll show you how.
This has been a presentation of CNN News for Living.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Mann. CNN Weekend continues with a look at weather right after this.
He said I reminded him of vanilla. Vanilla, I said. He said, not the boring, so why bother vanilla? Real vanilla. Breyer's vanilla. The vanilla's so potent you can find it in the dark. The vanilla with depth, dimension. He said I reminded him of that vanilla, Breyer's vanilla. And I said, why, thank you.
Pure, true Breyer's ice cream. The difference is real. Taste the difference in creamier than ever Breyer's Light.
Samsonite's Adventure Series luggage is perfect for those active vacations. It's sporty, easy to carry, and like every Samsonite, quite durable. The Adventure Series, for all you can pack into a vacation.
I'm Jim Moret. Next week, Sylvester Stallone lands in theaters with his new film, Cliffhanger. Also, Jay Leno on his 1-year anniversary as host of The Tonight Show. That's Showbiz Today, 5:30 p.m. Eastern on CNN.
CNN Weekend continues now with a look at this Sunday weather. Apparently some storms and sun. Here's Steve Koch.
Little of everything, that's for sure, Jonathan. The sunshine is reigning supreme in the west as well as the east. It's the middle section of the U.S. that has the stormy weather, particularly in the southern plains. Look at the regional radar from Oklahoma down into Texas. That's where some of the larger storms are located right now. And some of these storms have been dropping some very heavy rainfall amounts on the order of 3 to 4 to 5 inches of rain, so some flash flooding is the result of that. Temperatures today very warm in the southern states, warmer than what it was just yesterday. 70s just to the north with low humidity, so it feels very comfortable. Here is our forecast map. The biggest concentration of storms lined up with this front today as it inches towards the east. Clear sunny skies just ahead of it. By tomorrow morning, the front and the clouds and the rain move into the Ohio River Valley region. And then by tomorrow afternoon, you'll find the rain beginning to spread to the northeast, still lined up, though, in the Mississippi Valley with the stronger storms in that vicinity. That's a quick look at the weekend weather picture and a preview of your early week.
Thanks, Steve. We'll have a look at today's top stories, followed by the Week in Review, coming up next on CNN Weekend.
Drink your apple a day with Martinelli's Gold Medal 100% juices. Hi there, I'm Fred Wicks, the Gabby Gourmet. You know, there's a whole family of Martinelli's Gold Medal juices to enjoy. Martinelli's Gold Medal apple juice, sparkling apple juice, and sparkling cider. No concentrates or water, no preservatives, no sweeteners, no flavorings. Just 100% juice from fresh apples. Martinelli's Gold Medal 100% juices, a family tradition since 1868. Enjoy!
Of all the air conditioners in all the homes across America, we at Pioneer Furnace feel there is only one air conditioner that works harder or keeps you cooler than an Amana. Of course, this one doesn't work in the summer. Amana air conditioners, engineered for total comfort and long life. Call Pioneer Furnace today and find out more about high-efficiency Amana central air conditioners and natural gas furnaces.
FBI statistics report that 1 in 40 cars will be stolen this year. Will your car be next? I'm not an actor. I'm Captain Jack Cleric. This space used to have a car parked in it. The owner will be back shortly to find that his car was stolen. He could have prevented this theft had he installed the club on the steering wheel of his car. The club is a bright red, tough tempered steel bar that cannot be cut and attaches to any car's steering wheel. Once attached, it makes steering impossible.
They say you can't catch up on sleep. Hey, I believe it. You overwork during the week, lose sleep, try to catch up on the weekend, just so you'll be ready on Monday to overwork yourself again, lose sleep, and try to catch up on the weekend. What you need is professional help from G.I. Joe's. What you need are Asics athletic shoes, this Coleman electronic ignition lantern that's great for Memorial Day camping trips, or an Iron Horse, big wheels keep on turning, mountain bike, so you can seize the weekend. Just go out there and be one with nature. Of course, what you do there is up to you.
This is CNN.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Mann. Week in Review is just ahead, but first an update of today's top stories. Conflicting reactions today to the plan the U.S. and its allies hammered out to try to contain the war in Bosnia-Herzegovina. The plan would establish safe havens for Bosnian Muslims and monitor the border with Serbia. Bosnia's Muslim president, though, is rejecting the proposal, saying it divides the country into reservations. Alija Izetbegovic says his country will no longer take part in what he calls futile negotiations. But Bosnian Serb leader Radovan Karadzic supports the plan.
A new declaration of the United States and the allies, including Russia, is more or less acceptable, and we will try to help the international community to stop the war. Concerning demand about withdrawal of Serbian forces from occupied territories, we can't withdraw from Serbian territories, and we have in possession and private property 64% of territory, but we are ready to negotiate and to help Muslims to get reasonable territory, as President Clinton said.
Meantime, in Bosnia, the war goes on. Yesterday, Sarajevo was pounded by its most intense attack in weeks. It's quieter there today, and the fighting has shifted north to the town of Brčko. Sarajevo radio reports thousands of Serb shells and mortar rounds are hitting the town. A UN spokesman says its monitors are aware of only sporadic clashes. Defense Secretary Les Aspin travels to Europe this week to meet with U.S. allies on options in Bosnia. He'll consult with NATO defense ministers first, then go to Italy for meetings with UN military officials. Iraq is also expected to be on Aspin's agenda. A pre-dawn launch of a Star Wars research project went off without a hitch today in Florida. The Star Wars payload is testing equipment designed to differentiate between incoming warheads and decoys. Technical problems delayed yesterday's scheduled launch at Cape Canaveral. President Clinton faces a major political test this week as the House of Representatives votes on his budget proposal. Rebellious Senate Democrats rejected elements of the president's plan last week. They'll draft an alternative version of the bill next month with deeper spending cuts and no energy tax. But the president may have to cut enough deals with House Democrats to get the measure passed.
I don't think it's going to pass in the Senate. I think the BTU tax will not pass. They're not the votes for it in the Senate Finance Committee. They're not the votes for it on the Senate floor. I think we need to go back to the drawing boards, to the compromise boards, delete the BTU tax, cut spending more.
The taxes are aimed at the people at the top, not the people at the bottom or the middle. It really is a good package, and I think if you look at it through the whole country's prism, then I think it makes a great deal of sense.
The entire Newsmaker Sunday interview can be seen later today at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. In Cambodia today, UN officials estimate 2 million people are voting in the country's first multi-party elections since 1972. The ruling party is expected to win a large share of the votes. Khmer Rouge guerrillas are boycotting the vote, though, and said they'll reject the outcome. Despite threats of violence, UN officials say the Khmer Rouge has caused only a few minor disturbances. Voting ends Friday. Week in Review is just ahead, and What's Right with America? Lots in 10 cities we'll name after a short break.
teeth are sensitive. They hurt.
That's a warning. That's why dentists choose Sensodyne to help stop the pain that can make you stop brushing, could lead even to tooth loss.
I got the warning. Then I got Sensodyne.
Trust Sensodyne, the dentist's choice for sensitive teeth.
Every night during trout season, Ed Russell ties some of the best flies ever seen on Pinecrest Lake. But sometimes his arthritis pain can make it tough to sleep. That's when his wife Ann gives him Tylenol PM gel caps. Unlike ordinary pain relievers, it has extra strength Tylenol pain reliever, plus a gentle ingredient to help him sleep, which is good news for Ed, but not for the trout population of Pinecrest Lake. Tylenol PM, it puts arthritis pain to rest.
Dear parents, even if your car is working perfectly, it's still a dangerous place for a child who doesn't have a car seat. So through Project Safe Baby, Midas is making it easy for everyone to afford a Century car seat for just $42. Our cost. You see, Project Safe Baby isn't about making a profit. It's about making cars safer for children everywhere. That's the Midas way, the way it should be.
At Ford Motor Company, quality is more than just the way a car is built. It's the design of the instrument panel, the richness of the finish, the turn of a wheel, the safety of a loved one. It's the way your car or truck makes you feel. For us, our commitment to quality is an obsession.
And it's paying off. 5 of the 10 best-selling vehicles in America are built by Ford Motor Company.
Ford Motor Company, quality is job one. It's working.
We're headed across America on wheels of steel. Hi, I'm Larry Woods. Come go with us. It's a transcontinental first.
The Singing of the Rails, tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern on CNN.
What's right with America? Apparently a lot, and for knowing, 10 U.S. communities have been cited for such innovative programs as low-cost housing, creative anti-crime efforts, recycling, and school activism. They're winners in the annual All-America City competition. The awards go to Oakland, California, Ray, Colorado, Delray Beach, Florida, Wichita, Kansas, Dawson City, Nebraska, Washington, North Carolina, Cleveland, Ohio, Pulaski, Tennessee, Fort Worth, Texas, and Laredo, Texas. The All-America Cities competition is sponsored by the National Civic League. Coming up on the Week in Review with Donna Kelly, an Allied compromise plan for Bosnia.
The United States and 4 of its allies have a plan to make things safer for civilians in Bosnia. President Clinton's economic plan faces opposition from an unexpected place within his own party. And in Denmark, the vote for a united Europe was yes in the referendum and no on the streets. For Sunday, May 23rd, this is Week in Review. Hello and welcome. I'm Donna Kelly, sitting in for Susan Rook. The White House for weeks tried to convince its European allies to back a military plan for Bosnia while they held out for diplomacy. This week, the two sides united in a plan that uses a bit of both.
The fighting and the dying in the Balkans went on this week, as it has for more than a year. And so did the talk of peace. But for the first time since the bloodshed began 14 months ago, the NATO allies and Russia appeared united in efforts to try to stop the fighting. Saturday, the foreign ministers of Russia, France, Britain, and Spain joined U.S. Secretary of State Warren Christopher to announce a new action program to end the war. One of the keys to the strategy, the United States promised to help protect UN forces in the safe havens.
We will work in the United Nations for the early adoption of measures that will implement certain safe areas in Bosnia-Herzegovina. Each of our nations will make appropriate contributions to securing these safe areas. In this context, the United States is prepared to meet its commitment to help protect United Nations forces in the event that they are attacked and request such action by the United States.
Just one day earlier, President Clinton was expressing his doubts about making U.S. forces available.
The United States is skeptical that we'll be able to satisfactorily resolve this within the framework that has been proposed, but we do want to work with our allies, and we're trying our best to reach a joint position. It may happen, and I hope we can do it.
Are you still ruling out St. David?
Well, I don't want to see the United States get in a position where we're recreating Northern Ireland or Lebanon or Cyprus or anything else.
Still unclear what the rules of engagement would be for U.S. forces.
The United States does not intend to make ground troops available for Bosnia, but as the paragraph indicates, if the United States is requested to do so, we will help protect the UNPROFOR forces that are involved in Bosnia. We're anxious to keep this commitment, and we will keep this commitment, working with others and presumably working with NATO.
It was also not clear whether the Allies would demand territory taken by force be returned to its pre-war borders. Concretely, they did agree to continue humanitarian aid shipments, the sanctions on Serbia and Montenegro, and to enforce the no-fly zone. Christopher said they would also push for the establishment of a war crimes tribunal. He warned Croatia it would face sanctions if it supported the Bosnian Croats in their battles with Muslims. The Allies also called for an increased presence in Macedonia and monitors in Kosovo to keep the current hostilities from spreading. The announcement was the culmination of a week of diplomacy led for the most part by Russia.
I think we have a good degree of understanding. We've just reported to the president the progress we've made, and my feeling is that he is sympathetic with our effort.
Throughout the week, Moscow urged a gradual implementation of the Vance-Owen plan, despite the official rejection of that plan early in the week by Bosnian Serb voters. The Russian government also offered to send troops to police the border between Serbia and Bosnia. While Russia was talking tough, the United States appeared quite willing to cede its leadership role, but America's allies weren't ready to go it alone, and American participation remained key to a united strategy in Bosnia.
This alliance still needs American leadership. And not only this alliance, Europe needs American leadership. It's easy to see. If you look at the former Yugoslavia, there Europe really didn't do a very good job.
The self-proclaimed Bosnian Serb parliament made it tougher on the peace negotiators early in the week when it put its stamp on last weekend's overwhelming rejection of the Vance-Owen plan.
The plan is dead, long-lived to a new plan. So we are inviting the international community to arrange another plan which would be viable.
In Sarajevo and Brčko, the innocent continued to suffer as Serb and Muslim forces battled despite promises of a ceasefire. A deputy prime minister of the Bosnian government was among the casualties. And in central Bosnia, the same story. Muslims and Croats traded bullets in the name of land and heritage, with civilians caught in the middle.
They help us. We are desperate here. We don't know what to do. We are all civilians here. Many children, many women.
Thursday, during a break in the fighting, the Red Cross reported that Bosnian Croat forces released nearly 2,000 Muslims they rounded up last week near Mostar. But many of them have no homes to return to. They join thousands of others, Muslim, Croat, and Serb, whose lives have been ruined by a war no one so far has been able to stop. For Week in Review, I'm Jonathan Mann.
Afghanistan's rival warlords completed a complex power-sharing agreement this week, but the guns were not silenced. Rival Islamic groups have been struggling for power since the communist government fell in April of last year. Heavy fighting began more than 10 days ago and by one account has made life in the capital of Kabul intolerable. By some estimates, more than 5,000 people have been injured or killed. The agreement forged this week calls for one main rebel commander to step down from the defense ministry, and it divides 21 government ministries among the 9 main guerrilla groups. Venezuela's president was suspended from office this week, and the people celebrated. The Supreme Court ruled Thursday that there is enough evidence to try President Carlos Andrés Pérez on corruption charges. He and 2 former ministers are accused of using millions in state funds in a currency scheme that netted about $10 million. The Senate voted to suspend him during his trial, and the president of Congress, Octavio Lapage, was sworn in as interim president. The police presence on the streets of Caracas was doubled because of fear of violence. Venezuela's government has survived 2 coup attempts in the last year. In the meantime, Pérez will remain in the presidential palace and has vowed not to resign because he says he will be cleared.
2 influential Senate Democrats broke ranks with the White House and joined forces with a pair of Republicans. They offered an alternative to the president's plan that addresses the same concerns expressed in the House.
It's a beautiful day here at the Maple Street 500. Here comes the Previa. There's the driver, Dan Chambers. Who's the babe? That's Mom. Look how Previa handles that curve. Rack and pinion steering, bud. And passing the lead car. Toy Cam 16-valve power, dude. Way to go, Dad.
Guys.
Uh-oh. Gotta cut to commercial. I love what you do for me, Toyota.
Athlete's foot grows beneath the surface of your skin, so that's where you have to get to cure it. Mycotin is specially formulated to penetrate the skin surface with miconazole and kill the annoying fungus right where it starts. Mycotin penetrates, Mycotin cures.
I knew something must be wrong. I was getting these sharp pains, and sometimes pressure and bloating. I'm glad I asked my doctor. He said it was gas and recommended Mylanta Gas.
Mylanta Gas. It has the best medicine for gas.
There's a new style in business, a new school of personal expression. That's why we created Cambridge Software, a softer, more stylish way to keep organized. Business accessories detailed in real leather, durable yet very fashionable. Cambridge Software, part of a whole new style of doing business.
Every 20 seconds, a car is stolen. So Liberty Mutual is giving some police a powerful homing device that finds the car, which lowers insurance. And this device also finds the thief, who finds himself behind bars. At Liberty Mutual, we're facing the issues that face our customers.
As President Clinton ducked fire from Republicans this week, he also faced a rebellion from within his own ranks. Congressional Democrats offered up a serious challenge to the president's economic plan.
It was a full-court press for President Clinton this week as he struggled to sell his economic plan to wary politicians and the public. During a campaign-style swing through the West, the president played ball with kids in South Central Los Angeles, scene of last year's riots. While he often faced large and friendly crowds, Mr. Clinton also faced hard questions and even some anger.
You broke your promise!
Criticized for abandoning a middle-class tax cut, Mr. Clinton laid blame on 12 years of Republican administrations.
The free lunch crowd has had their chance. And I'm telling you, there is no free lunch crowd.
Convincing the public is just half the battle. While Mr. Clinton was away, a mini rebellion against his economic plan was brewing on Capitol Hill.
In the coming weeks, the president's program will be tested.
The test for Foley and the president comes from within their own ranks. Mr. Clinton rushed to Capitol Hill to try to ease concerns of some conservative House Democrats, threatening to vote against his deficit reduction plan. The lawmakers want to kill the proposed energy tax, limit growth of entitlement programs like Social Security and Medicare, and deepen spending cuts.
I don't think that we're, at this stage, going to back down on that request. We'll continue to talk and see what happens.
Despite such defiant talk, Democratic leaders suggested they had put out the political fire.
We have no plans at this point to change the basic program before it's voted on next week.
I think the program will pass.
But then, the rumble of rebellion shifted to the Senate.
We urge the American people to call on Congress and the President to join us in a bipartisan effort to reduce the budget deficit.
Two influential Senate Democrats broke ranks with the White House and joined forces with a pair of Republicans. They offered an alternative to the president's plan that addresses the same concerns expressed in the House. It would scrap the proposed energy tax, put caps on entitlements, and impose $2 of spending cuts for every dollar of new taxes.
Most Republicans have said that the Clinton program is way too heavy in tax increases and way too light in spending cuts. We have addressed that problem, and to my satisfaction, and I think to the satisfaction of a lot of Republicans, we really fixed it.
President Clinton and his allies argue the alternative plan would be unfair to the working class and the elderly.
We had 12 years where we made this economy more unequal and unfair. And to move $40 billion off of upper income people to people barely above the poverty line, it seems to me, is not a good way to go.
There are two choices. The president's plan can pass and we can move forward as a nation, or we can go back to the gridlock.
But the prospects for the president's plan look awfully shaky in the Senate. Opponents say there are not enough votes in the Senate Finance Committee for the BTU energy tax to survive.
I believe the BTU tax is dead.
And now some House Democrats who plan to vote for the president's deficit reduction plan next week are having second thoughts. They fear they'll take the politically risky move, only to find the president strikes a compromise in the Senate later on. Some Republicans can't help but gloat over the internal warfare among Democrats.
I applaud our Democrat colleagues who are sending the president our message for us. Cut spending first.
Adding to the chorus, Ross Perot. He used an appearance on Capitol Hill this week to take aim at the president and his tax plan.
The ordinary citizen understands the tax program is tax and spend, not balance a budget and pay down the debt.
On top of the trouble for his economic plan, Mr. Clinton stumbled badly in the public relations area. It began with the announcement that all 7 members of the White House travel staff had been fired after an independent audit of the department.
Within the travel office, we found sort of gross mismanagement, if you will. There's basically very shoddy accounting practices.
The White House tapped the president's distant cousin, 25-year-old Catherine Cornelius, to run the department temporarily. That raised questions of cronyism that intensified with the disclosure of a February memo co-authored by Cornelius. It shows she recommended a shakeup of the travel office and that she be put in charge. The White House denies the memo played any role in the firings.
We acted in May after a review by an accounting firm, by 6 people in a highly respected accounting firm, who went through all the operations of the office, and after the FBI, after consulting with that accounting firm, determined that there was reason to go forward with a criminal investigation.
But Republicans in Congress want more facts.
The American people are asking questions, and they want answers to what they see as real conflicts of interest, real perception problems, real appearances of impropriety, and possibly some real sleaze.
The president also drew fire this week for a haircut he got during his California trip. A pricey Beverly Hills stylist gave Mr. Clinton a trim aboard Air Force One before takeoff from the Los Angeles airport. That delayed 2 incoming commuter planes and prompted complaints the president is out of touch with taxpayers.
You spent thousands of your tax dollars waiting to get a haircut for $200 from Hillary's hairdresser. He ought to be more concerned about trimming the deficit than his own hair.
The White House says there was no additional cost to taxpayers.
The president has to get his haircut. Everybody has to get their haircut.
I want to hear this.
The controversy prompted Ross Perot to play the cut-up. Where else but in the barber's chair?
We're bringing in people from the airlines. We're bringing in people from the air controllers, and we're going to have a plan where when we're cutting hair at airports, we don't shut down the airport.
In yet another week of more downs than ups, the president did have a legislative victory to celebrate. He signed the so-called motor voter bill that would, among other things, allow voter registration while applying for a driver's license. Considering the way things have been going, it was a moment the president undoubtedly wanted to savor. For Week in Review, I'm Brian Christie.
First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton was also sporting a new haircut this week. She got it done in New York, reportedly paying $275 for the do, and it immediately sparked comment.
A reporter asked me about my new haircut. I know it's been on all of your minds. It is, after all, the #1 issue. I had a friend call me from Japan who saw it on CNN. So I told him the truth, that when the president called for sacrifice and asked everybody at the White House to get a 25% cut, I decided to go for a 50% cut to do my part.
Reaction from hairdressers is mixed. Some say the First Lady looks younger. Some say she looks older. The First Lady's press office says she got her hair cut for the summer. This week, a new compromise was offered in the controversy over allowing openly gay men and women in the military. Representative Barney Frank, himself gay, says those in favor of completely lifting the ban simply do not have the votes in Congress to win. So he wants a policy that would allow gay service members to lead personal lives without fear while off base and off duty.
What I think you need, and this is where my view differs from the current policy, is a policy that says don't ask and don't tell and don't listen and don't investigate. And basically, the policy I think the military should follow with regard to sexual orientation is don't start. Don't get into the whole thing. That means, however, that people who on base and on duty and in uniform, in effect, have said, okay, I am in the military, there is this serious prejudice problem, I will keep my sexual orientation to myself while I am in uniform and on base and on duty.
Some gay rights activists say such a proposal still makes discrimination a matter of policy and say they will oppose it. A congressional committee approved a bill this week guaranteeing abortion rights to women in case the Roe v. Wade decision is overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court. The bill carries 2 amendments. One would leave intact any state laws requiring parental consent for a minor to receive an abortion. The other would allow states to exempt private institutions, such as church-run hospitals, from performing abortions. Backers say those provisions are needed if the measure is to have any hope of passing the full House.
I'm Bobby Batista. Coming up on Week in Review, Danish voters changed their minds on joining a united Europe. We'll tell you how they decided and why.
Of all the ways to replace a lost or broken remote, the easiest is a one-for-all universal remote. An ideal replacement, it also reduces the clutter of all your other remote controls by combining them into one single remote. Look for one-for-all universal remotes wherever electronic equipment is sold. And save yourself a little inconvenience. Now buy any one-for-all remote in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit video and get a $5 rebate.
When you fly in coach, are you comfortable? Or if somebody leans back, you should have to offer him a shave? We at TWA have a much better idea. We're giving you the most legroom of any major U.S. airline in domestic or European service. And we're even adding footrests on all our wide-body planes. So sit back, relax, or do something really revolutionary like cross your legs.
Maybe it's not Yellowstone or Yosemite. But when you consider Bog Creek Farm was once one of the nation's worst abandoned hazardous waste sites, the mere fact you can be here at all is beautiful to contemplate. Especially to us. We cleaned it up. What business do we have saying we help the environment? That is our business.
Sunday, June 13th, you will witness the real story.
I made him. I must destroy him.
Frankenstein, a new motion picture from TNT. Sunday, June 13th.
Today on CNN World Report, violence against women. It's long prevented economic growth in developing nations, that Western winds may be blowing incentives for change. Then her means are minimal, but that's not changing this woman's wealth of love. How she's nurturing new hope to abandon Vietnamese children. And visit this museum and dig up the dirt about soil. Discover the depths and history of our planet. Getting the lowdown, deep down under, on CNN World Report, 3 p.m. Eastern today.
The human machine is a miracle of efficiency. When deprived of food for fuel, it consumes its own muscle tissue. It cuts back on white blood cell production and lowers its own temperature. Even the brain slows down automatically. Yes, what could be more wondrously efficient?
Maybe seeing to it that people don't have to go through all that in the first place.
Do you have an idea for a new product or invention that you'd like to submit to companies? If so, there's information from Invention Submission Corporation to help get you started. ISC is America's largest invention service organization with over 50 offices nationwide. Call now for free information, which includes forms to assure confidentiality and record and date your invention, plus an informative brochure. Call for your free information now.
For your free information, call 1-800-932-4000. Call now.
This is CNN.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Mann with a quick update of our top stories on CNN Weekend. There are new charges of racial discrimination against one of America's biggest restaurant chains. 6 black Secret Service agents say a Denny's restaurant in Maryland refused to serve them breakfast, while a group of white agents ate just a few tables away. The Justice Department is demanding an investigation and says the black agents plan to sue. Denny's recently settled a federal discrimination complaint, and it faces a lawsuit in California for allegedly overcharging or refusing to serve black customers. Company officials say Denny's does not tolerate discrimination, and they say they are investigating. Congressman Dan Rostenkowski's family is denying reports of financial misconduct. The Chicago Sun-Times reports the government paid the family hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent over the last quarter century. The paper says a grand jury is looking into the arrangement as part of an ongoing investigation into Rostenkowski's finances. Rostenkowski, the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, kept his Chicago district office until recently in a building owned by his sisters, and taxpayers footed the bill. Democratic Party offices are next door in another Rostenkowski building. The congressman has previously denied any wrongdoing. The Muslim president of Bosnia-Herzegovina says a new Allied action plan for Bosnia is totally unacceptable. Alija Izetbegovic says it would reward Serb aggression. The plan was announced yesterday by diplomats from the U.S., Russia, and Europe. They agreed to use military force to protect UN troops patrolling 6 Bosnian safe havens, but they said they would not intervene in the fighting. Bosnian Serb leader Radovan Karadzic said the Allied proposal was what he called realistic. He called for negotiations to divide the republic between Serbs, Muslims, and Croats. But the Muslims say they will not participate and vowed to fight instead. In Sarajevo, fight they did. The UN says Serbs and Muslims share the blame for a fierce artillery battle which reportedly killed at least 15 people. 2 boys aged 12 and 13 have been arrested for allegedly causing Friday's Amtrak crash in South Florida. 6 people were injured when the Silver Meteor derailed at Opa-locka. Police say the boys admit wedging pipes under the tracks, then watching as the train ran off the tracks. Police say the boys were, quote, looking for something to do. They were released to their parents' custody after being charged with felony criminal mischief. The Pentagon put Star Wars technology to work early today.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
The Air Force launched a research project rocket from Cape Canaveral one day after a computer power failure delayed the liftoff. The rocket's payload will test the capability of sensors to distinguish between incoming warheads and decoys. Our next news summary is at the top of the hour. Now back to Week in Review with Donna Kelly.
Welcome back to the Week in Review. About 2,000 Danes marched peacefully through the streets of Copenhagen Saturday. They were protesting the police violence that erupted Tuesday following a yes vote for European unity.
A yes vote to European unity in Denmark brought discord to the streets of Copenhagen this week. Disaffected young people known as squatters built barricades and pelted riot police with tons of bricks and stones. The squatters, some leftists, some unemployed, have a long history of clashes with authorities. But the violence after the vote was the worst in Denmark in decades. And for the first time in peacetime, police fired at demonstrators. At least 10 rioters were wounded and 24 police officers hurt. The violence worried many Danes, but did not seem to shake officials' euphoria over the Maastricht vote. The protesters were angry that Denmark had voted to create a tighter European community.
I support them because I think the second referendum about this union has been, it's just been so fake to us people who voted no because we voted no one time.
Last June, Danes brought the process of European unity to a sudden halt by rejecting the Maastricht Treaty. It calls on the 12 nations of the European community to form a common international policy, a single currency, and stronger economic ties. To take effect, Maastricht must be ratified in all 12 countries, and that has proved a troublesome process in several nations. Danes argued over whether they should begin to identify more strongly with other Europeans, including the Germans, some still remember as occupiers during World War II.
This land is my land. This land is your land. And you can be here as a tourist. But we don't want them to own our summer houses.
Europeans have so much in common now that we really have to focus on what is common to us and the areas in which we can cooperate rather than on the things which separate us.
But the reputation of the European community's bureaucrats in Brussels did not help the pro-unity cause.
The popular perception of Brussels is of an interfering busybody who wants to stop us all enjoying ourselves.
And Danes disagreed over whether their 5.1 million people would be swallowed up in a European superstate.
I'm going to vote no, because we're not going to have any influence. Denmark is a little country. We're not going to have any influence in the new Europe.
It's more important to have influence. Perhaps it's a smaller influence, but it is influence. That's better than nothing.
The government and most political parties pushed for a yes vote, while no campaigners mocked the treaty with a parade and asserted that, as in the fairy tale The Emperor's New Clothes, the Danes are being sold something that just isn't there.
You will have a lot of conflicts in the coming months if it's a yes. The Danes will never accept to be a Minnesota in the United States of Europe.
When Danes voted no a year ago, it helped convince the EC to add clauses to the Danish version of the pact, which will allow Denmark to stand apart from the community's common defense, citizenship, and currency. And this time, the yes campaigners pounded hard on economic points, arguing that if Denmark stayed out of the Union, isolation would lead to economic woes.
As a little country as Denmark is, we can't compete with the big countries if we are standing out.
On Tuesday, Danish voters approved the modified treaty by almost 57%.
What we have done is to give Europe a confident answer, but also to give Europe a signal saying, here we are, the Danes, having taken our decision, having said yes, and even a clear yes.
The next day, Prime Minister Poul Nyrup Rasmussen announced income tax cuts and a new growth package. Others saw the potential for a model economy in Denmark. The Denmark-based Lego Corporation announced it would resume construction of a factory mothballed after last year's vote. And the Danish Central Bank quickly lowered interest rates. Much of the rest of Europe welcomed the Danish acceptance of the pact, and attention quickly swung to Britain, the only country yet to ratify the treaty. The House of Commons wasted no time and on Thursday approved the treaty.
Most people feel it's high time this particular argument was put behind us.
But debates similar to those in Denmark have tied up British politics for many months.
If and when the treaty is ratified by Britain, that is only going to be the beginning of a very long political slog which will dominate British politics for the next decade.
Britain has its own opt-out clause, allowing it to diverge from the treaty section that sets standards for wages and working conditions. And the British are also very concerned about the prospect of a common currency. In Britain, the treaty now goes next to the House of Lords. But even if it passes through the British government smoothly over the next few months, legal questions in Germany and other countries may keep implementation at bay a little longer. And the specially tailored versions of the pact have weakened the treaty and made clear that European unity is still far from a simple matter. For Week in Review, I'm Bobby Batista.
The trial many Florida cities did not want is finally underway in Orlando. I'm Charles Jaco, and I'll have details in a moment.
Nobody does it like you, the way that you do. Hoover, nobody does it like you.
Huh. I wonder if we have termites.
Terminex is the leader in termite control.
Where's that number?
Our name is well known, if not always well loved. Call us. Nobody bugs bugs like Terminex.
What does a communications company look like? Bell South thinks that's best answered by our customers. A national retailer saw us as someone who could support their system's technology, while a major airline saw us as someone who could coordinate cellular service nationally. You see, Bell South can provide solutions as different as your challenges. So what does a communications company look like? Just ask our customers.
Hitachi. They make, Oh, great shot. Now, what was I saying?
Hitachi makes camcorders and 20,000 other products worth celebrating. Hitachi.
Hitachi? They make, those little chips. They're in everything. They make things run.
Hitachi makes semiconductors and 20,000 other memorable